Hello, hello. Welcome to Thinking Out Loud Live. This episode, we actually just wanted to talk about our new partnership with the Eyes on New Jersey, who's actually agreed to help us kind of get more distribution of our content to reach more people and help them. For those of you that don't know, we're Start Day One. That's who we're working with. It's a nonprofit foundation for mental health and suicide prevention. One of the things we do differently is that we have a more proactive approach in the way we help people rather than a reactive one where people or these organizations are asking, when you already have mental health issues or suicidal tendencies. And so we're providing this content. We're doing live shows on a weekly basis just to reach more people proactively and hopefully make an impact and really change the perspective. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the founders of Eyes on New Jersey.
Hey,
what's up, guys?
What's going on, Ricardo? How are you? Thank you so much.
Good. How's it going? Can you kind of explain to the people real quick, kind of your background and what you guys are about?
Sure, John.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having us. Speaking with us today, Mr.
Of course.
So my name is John Edmonds. I represent the Eyes on New Jersey news brand. This is Jordan Campbell's part of my team. Rachel couldn't make it today, but she's always helping us off with whatever capacity she can, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So basically, we would like to talk with Mr. Zuleta today and learn more about his brand and how it's going to be helping folks across the entire Garden State and beyond. Do you serve anywhere beyond the Garden State, or is it strictly the Garden State you're serving?
Us actually, we serve worldwide, basically, because that's the goal of this thing, right? Well, at least that's the advantage of the internet, is you're able to scale and really reach worldwide because it's an issue everywhere. So
right, not just one demographic or another.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of the things, like I mentioned earlier, the biggest things that we do differently is that we have a more proactive approach, and I learned this from my apparel company. So one of the things I mentioned with that was, we're trying to inspire and motivate people with my apparel brand. And so when I talk about the brand and what it's about, I discuss how we support suicide prevention awareness. I actually lost my brother to suicide. And so the biggest thing I learned from that was that people don't get sad or depressed because of their situation. It's actually their situation or their perspective that sucks. That's why you have rock stars committing suicide while the homeless are trying to stay alive, right? Like there's an issue there. What's the biggest difference? It's really just their perspective. And we know we've all been there. It's actually a necessary process for you to go up and down. Like that's what life is, right? When everything goes perfectly, you actually even get depressed. That's why you get spoiled kids like committing suicide. So it has nothing to do with like your situation actually. And so we're always trying to change people's perspective with our brand or basically all our content. That's what we're trying to do. And the mission for Start Day One is to change people's perspectives from dreaming of one day to starting day one. Day one means there's a day 2, day 3, day 4. People get so overwhelmed with how much they need to change, but really they just don't know where to start. And we're just letting him know, dude, just gotta start day 1. And then from there you start day 2. If you're trying to lose weight, dude, walk the block. I'm not telling you to do a marathon tomorrow or, all the push-ups and all that stuff. Same thing with alcoholics. Dude, I'm just telling you, one less beer tomorrow. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with the whole thing. And we raise funds to provide content and also speakers that can actually go to different venues to proactively make an impact on people because they're not going to call for help. You know what I mean? It's really rare. Like my brother was never going to call.
Right. And I think that perspective and what you guys represent really resonates a lot for us and kind of what's, just with everything in life. I want to say what's going on with the situation, but it goes beyond the situation, people, the brightest stars are like the ones that are always, have something that's going on with them. And that's what, I have a lot of friends that have been affected by it. People that I know, like connected directly. And pretty much, I guess, it all started between us. I want to let the viewers know between us, was when I met you at a networking event in Morristown.
That's right.
And I reached out to you, and at that point in time, I was looking to make a documentary about everything, and I had everything kind of,
That's right.
not really pieced out, but like mapped in my head, or what I thought was mapped in my head.
Yeah.
I talked to you, and it was just like, wow, like, holy crap, just to meet somebody else with a like mind and had a great idea and a great foundation, and
Yeah.
driving forth really kind of brought me to you, and
Well, and that's kind
and
of
at
what
that time, I didn't really have the pieces together. So that was
yeah.
the thing, like I had what I thought was the pieces, but I was missing a lot. So I kind of put that on the back burner. And then, more and more talking about it, I was like, like, I guess what really hit home was during this time, I had somebody on my timeline that reached out and was like, hey, I'm really not feeling good. And that made me like, hey, how many other people are like feeling the same, the same way, but just aren't saying anything? And like a ton of people are, a ton of people are. So
Right.
I figured what was the best thing to do was to kind of bring light and, kind of bring some sort of content to this. And hopefully this helps somebody get through their day. I'm not trying to make their I'm not trying to make like their whole life, but if this can get somebody to feel a little bit better than they did when they woke up, then hey, I feel accomplished and I feel good. And I felt like that message was definitely reciprocated with you as well, when we first started. And then here we are kind of, representing each other and going into this partnership. And I'm really excited to see, what your show brings forth, and hopefully our viewers kind of get an idea as well, because with our brand, it's been mostly, politics and news and all that stuff, but we're not that, we're not just limited to that. We want to be more than that. And I think that this is a great way also to branch out in that realm as well.
Yeah, definitely. And what's awesome, even though you guys are just eyes on New Jersey, I mean, everything I talk about is relatable to everybody. Everyone can benefit from it, right? So it doesn't really, that part doesn't even matter. But either way, you're giving us more eyeballs, and that's the whole thing of that. That's what makes it powerful, right? Because the one thing we really need to change is the perspective on fucking mental health as it is now. So we're doing everything wrong. Like, we're doing everything wrong. Organizations, doctors, society as a whole. Like, we're doing everything wrong, and it's insane. I can give you so many examples, and that's why when you go to our, when people watch our live, I know some of them get kind of surprised when I tell them, like, dude, it's impossible to live life to the fullest. They go, wait, what? What do you? That you're going reverse here. Aren't you supposed to freaking like motivate me? But what I realized, this is just one of the examples, right? What I realized, when you realize that it's impossible to live life to the fullest, they actually get closer to living it to the fullest. Because people think it's perfect. It has to be a perfect life, perfect this, perfect that, because that's living life to the fullest. Like, I'm letting something bother me today. Damn it, that's not living life to the fullest. And it's just like, people are getting frustrated. It has now become abnormal to be depressed. It has become abnormal to be anxious, which is insanity. These are just emotions resulting from negative perspectives. That's like saying, I don't know, like, man, every time I cut myself, I'm bleeding. Like, well, yeah, because that's what happens when you do that. And we're making it like it's the problem, but that's just the result. And now we're going to give them a pill to stop the blood flow. Like, well, stop stabbing yourself. I mean, I don't understand. Same thing with weight loss. I like comparing, and I actually had a guest for tomorrow's live show, but he kind of went out, and I really wanted to compare and discuss the similarities between like mental health and physical health. And one of the most difficult things right now is getting people to understand that it all starts with a negative perspective that evolves. Eventually, you become suicidal if it keeps evolving. If nothing makes it different, if nothing changes, it'll keep going. Everything in between that is anxiety, depression, complaining about your job, alcoholism, drug abuse. It's all one line. It's not separate segments, but people tend to segment it, which I don't understand. It's the same cause. The reason they segment it is because they're trying to remedy the result, not the cause, which doesn't make sense. And the best way I can make people understand is kind of like the diabetes, right? On World Suicide Prevention Day, the articles that come out is always, we got to teach people how to look for symptoms of of depression and suicidal tendencies. And to me, that's fucking idiotic. Why? Because that's like telling every kid to eat whatever you want, and then we'll look for symptoms of diabetes. That is not what we do. That is not what we do.
Right.
Tell the kids, eat your vegetables, exercise, this, that. So, but we're doing that with our mental health. Like, why are we doing that? Like, let's wait until they're suicidal, then take them to the park. Okay.
Right.
You know, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
Absolutely.
right? All of a sudden, you have to be concerned when you see signs. Like, nah, dude, you have to love them up now. This is actually, so teal is our theme color.
Okay.
And so the reason we have teal as our color is because it reminds people what you need to give to help in suicide prevention. So it stands for time, effort, attention, and love. That's kind of like the vegetables for mental health. You have to keep doing that. And that's why you have spoiled kids, even though they had the great life. Yeah, but they weren't getting teal, man. They weren't getting it right. And teal doesn't mean spoiling a kid. We all know that doesn't work. You can refer, you can look at puppies. When you spoil a puppy, you're done, dude.
Yeah, that puppy's never leaving you alone.
Yeah.
Never.
So you always need some kind of discipline and stuff like that. So it really, I just always look at the cause of things in business, personal life, any problem you're trying to solve, you stop solving the result. You have to freaking solve what's the cause of it, so that's what we're trying to make a difference. Like all this mental issues, just here's one of the things I've learned. When people have like a negative perspective, they freaking love excuses and they hate accountability.
Yeah,
We've all been there, dude.
Yeah,
It's never your fault. It's never your fault, right?
Yeah.
You're in a bad place. But once you get in a better place, you realize, like, man, that was all me. Like, what the hell was I doing?
Right.
Idiot. You right?
Right, yeah.
But when you're in a bad place, you love excuses. So
Right.
that is a big thing. That is that's something we have to get rid of, or not that, but one of the biggest things we do that really amplifies the issues even more is we provide the best excuses. We are telling freaking people that, you know what they have to blame? Depression. This freaking invisible enemy. It's called depression. Yeah, that's why you fight depression. No one's winning. Why? Because it's fucking invisible. Doesn't exist. All it is the result of a bad perspective. That's just the result. That's not the cause. So when you just go like, oh, it's depression, that's not how it works. So I always tell people, it's like people think you get hit with depression, like, oh, like a mosquito. Like, oh, guys, I got depression. I'm going to be freaking depressed for 2 weeks, dude. So I don't know. I guess I got to take pills.
Yeah.
That's how they do it, right? So they think it's depression. You get depressed, and then you think bad perspective. No. It's this way. Bad perspective, you get depressed. Well, now you have depression. That's how it works. But doctors are telling you it's the other way. You have to blame depression or anxiety. You hear it all the time. Like, man, I've been dealing with depression since like 2016. Like, what do you mean? You mean you've had that emotion since only 2016? That's insanity. I've had depression since I was a little kid. When someone died, I got depressed. Like, it's normal. It's a result of your thoughts, of what you're going through. So it freaking kills me when people do that. Anxiety. How many times have you heard freaking, oh, my anxiety is really acting up today?
Enough that I can make a lot of money right now if I had it.
Yeah, and then they go to the pills, like, oh, my anxiety.
Yeah.
I had one conversation with this one guy, and he was like, I was telling him about this, and then he goes, I don't know, man. So I said, Tid, all right, give me an example. Like, give me an example of your anxiety acting up. I don't know, like when I'm driving in my car, and I'm like, dude, a lot of people driving their cars. What makes you anxious? That's not it. Again, the cause is always a verb. It's never a noun. Ever, ever, ever. It's never a noun. There has to be a verb. Something has to be happening. So he said, well, I guess every time I'm in my car, I think I'm going to get into an accident or something. Now we're getting somewhere. Your perspective is that whenever you're behind the wheel and driving around,
You fear
you're
it.
thinking you're going to get in an accident.
Yeah.
Well, guess what's going to happen? When you do
Fear,
that? You're going to get anxious.
yeah.
Well, now you have anxiety. And then because you're, the bad perspective, he goes, I'm trying to look for an excuse, but you're right. And I told him, like, yeah, and you're taking pills for this. I was like, but
Yeah.
that's true. But
Yeah.
how many people have this mindset? And the thing is, it's this nocebo effect. Nocebo effect is when you believe something in a negative aspect that actually affects you. For example, a doctor says you have 3 months to live. People actually follow it, and they have they live 3 months. The ones that don't believe the doctor are the ones that live longer or less in case if they think it's worse. But that's how powerful your mind is. So by telling people, oh, military guy, it's PTSD, you got that forever. Infinite pills. How many people do you think is going to let go of that excuse? Dude, it's the perfect excuse.
They're not. And I feel like it's the same thing for children with like ADHD, like here's your medication.
Yep.
Oh, you have it here. Here's your scapegoat. Like,
Exactly.
it's always been, here's the medication. It's never,
Exactly.
what can we do in the middle to try and alleviate that amphetamine addiction for this child?
Mhm. Yeah. And what's funny, when I think ADHD, this is what I always think. I have to tell people, dude, we're just all puppies. And this is what I mean. This came about, we're talking about ADHD, and then we have a husky. Everyone knows huskies are like kind of wild. They want to run, dude. They run.
Yeah.
Well, basically they have ADHD, man. Right?
Yeah, to the max.
You give huskies a pill. You don't give huskies a pill. What do? You tell people you have to walk them. You have to let them work. You have to do that so they can sleep at night. Well, your kid that's hyper as hell, do not let him sit there just playing video games all day. That kid needs to play soccer, wrestling, something. Go to the park, get him tired, and just like a husky, they'll get tired, and then you come home and done. But instead, they're remedying the result. They're trying to give the kids, here's the pill so I can be sane. Has nothing to do with the kid. And so that's what we're doing all the time. We're always trying to remedy the result of things rather than the cause of things. And it's really messing people up. And it's only getting worse and worse and worse. Like, oh my God, and all it is a simple cure. Like, you got to start from the beginning.
Right.
It's the same thing with bullying.
So, but in some cases, it's like the remedy is worse than the cure,
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, very, very small, slight cases, like obviously chemo to cancer and like, back pain to opioid addiction, that kind of thing. There's always, some remedies are worse than the cure, but
right.
Definitely there needs to be that middle ground before somebody hits that point, where they've hit that point. There's got to be some sort of talk, education, something like there's got to be more to
the
it.
Thing is, I don't really like when people say that, because they shouldn't have to get there. That's like saying, like, people need to be 500 pounds, then they can go to the gym.
Right.
No, you go to the gym now, like right now. I don't care how in shape you are. You need to diet right now. Eat vegetables right now. There's no waiting. And that's the hardest part with mental health. Everyone thinks, well, I'm not suicidal. I don't need mental health. But man, you are like negative Nancy. Every time I talk to you, it's this fault. That's the beginning stage. Remember the bad perspective? He's here now. And then all of a sudden, my job sucks. Oh man, my relationship. Oh, divorce. Oh, anxiety. Oh, depression. Oh, suicide. That's how it works. Basically, it's similar to your physical weight. No one plans on being overweight.
No.
Everyone knows diet, exercise. There's no one that's going to go like, shit, diet and exercise. No way. That's what I got to do. That's how I gained weight. I didn't do that. Everyone knows, just like mental health. Think positive, do this. Everyone knows. So how are we still getting obese? Well, it all starts here. Because when you have a bad mindset, well, you start eating more, but instead people are trying to use freaking pills to take care of things. Or, even the exercise is great and all, but until you really change everything on why you're getting obese, well, it's always gonna be there. That's why when people say like, oh, what do they say? Like just the fighting obesity or something. And I'm like, well, you don't really fight obesity. It's you have to fix what's causing it. You're eating a lot, like
Right. And I think at the end of the day, you need to have a why. And for yourself, like, why do I want to do it? Because it's not going to be somebody else's perspective that's going to make you change. It's going to be what your own self that's going to want to change.
It always comes from
you kind of confide within yourself and are willing to change. Nothing's going to happen. It's just the way it goes. Like
it all starts with a decision. All of it. It has to start with a decision.
Absolutely.
And what's funny is that's actually how I found out when I found out that people hate accountability.
Yeah.
When I talked to this kid, he came up to me and he was just like, hey, I like everything you're saying. But it's not that easy. I was just telling him like, it all starts with a decision.
Right.
To me, and I'm going like, dude, I never said it was easy, but it starts with a decision. He goes, yeah, but I'm in rehab now and I'm having this issue, that issue. And I'm just like, yeah, but it still starts with a decision. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, but, and I'm like, dude, stop saying but. It starts with a decision. Tell me why you can't do that. So I backed up. And then all of a sudden, he's just standing there, just doing nothing. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, it's so weird. He's looking through his database, man, of excuses because he just didn't want to, he just couldn't accept it. I don't know what it was. And so I'm looking at him. I'm like, all right, so he's just going to stand there until he finds a freaking excuse. But he was there long enough, I guess. And then he finally was just like, you're right. Dude, you're right. I know. I'm like, yeah, I know. You're welcome. Like you're in rehab and you didn't even decide to get better. And then I meet this other lady, talked about the same exact story. And she goes, yeah, it's different for everyone. I'm like, what do you mean it's different for everyone? Like it always starts with a decision. And she left pissed off and I didn't know why. So my analytical self was like, that's weird. Why would someone get pissed off when I was trying to help them? And that happens a lot. You try to help people, you get annoying, right? So the reason I was annoying to her was because as soon as she agreed with me is as soon as she had to let go of all the excuses. They can't use it anymore. They can't use daddy issues. They can't use, oh, but I was in war, because it's all past. It's all in the past. I understand that was traumatic. Got it. But you're kicking your own ass now. You're the one bringing it back. No one else is doing that for you. No one. All you. And so that's when I realized, like, wow, it's the accountability that they fear so much that as soon as they do that, they can no longer use any freaking excuse. They can't have that life. When they're drinking and stuff, oh, dude, PTSD. So that's why I drink. It's PTSD. Done. But what are you doing about it is my question. Like, what are you doing about it? Stop using
something terrible. Yeah.
Dude, it kills me.
Another issue. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kills me. Oh, it's my depression. What do you do about that? What have you guys experienced from that? When people go like, oh, my depression, what do you guys do? You guys just kind of go, oh man, sucks. Like I've seen social media content like where people are actually complaining to you like, I don't know when my depression is gonna act up. And I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, holy shit, here it comes.
What they don't realize is that no one knows when bad things are gonna happen.
Right.
Every that's life.
If we did, would it be bad? I mean, you can make that.
The thing is, you're in full control of your response to that.
Right.
Full control. Whether it's the freaking your ADD is acting up, whether your anxiety is acting up, acting up. Stupid phrase, but it's like, well, what are you doing about it? Once you notice you're thinking that way, what are you doing? Because the only way to get depressed is when you have a negative perspective. It is impossible to have a negative perspective and happy, or a happy and then a negative. It's impossible. So the only way to get there, dude, is you have to have a negative perspective. So I need to know, what the hell are you thinking about? And then when I hear it, like, well, fuck, yeah, that's depressing as hell. Like what, you know? And then, so that's where it has to start. But that's how we have to fix this. And so we really have to really concentrate on like remedying the cause and stop doing this result thing. And like working with Eyes on New Jersey, you know what I mean? Like, if we can reach more people, and all I want is like, dude, then debate me and let me know that I'm wrong. Well, I'll debate with you all day. But the thing is, they're afraid to. I've talked about stigma, and I'm just like, I don't think there's really stigma. Like, I don't, because I've never heard someone badmouth someone that's depressed. It's the excuses we don't like. How many motivational speakers say, stay away from negative people? That's the reverse of what you guys are saying. Oh, there's a stigma. But then motivational people are saying, stay away from me because you're annoying. So I'm not sure what to do here.
Right. Yeah, it's mixed signals at that point.
Right. The thing is, because it is, but you have to accept that. You can't get a trophy because you lost, kind of thing. People think giving trophies is actually beneficial. Yeah.
You know, that's a huge topic that I'm really glad you touched on that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's a big topic that stems so much for mental health, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, I've had this conversation with so many people, and a lot of people are on different sides, so many different sides. Yes, give them a trophy. Don't give them a trophy. There shouldn't be and it's just, I'm interested to hear what your side,
Yeah. Well, so my side on that is this. By providing the trophies for everyone, they do not know how to experience loss. That's one of those loss that they'll be able to actually get through, right? But it develops adversity. Because imagine never feeling a loss, and all of a sudden you break up with your first girlfriend. That's the end of the world. The end of the world. Because even with all the experience of loss that I've had, even the first breakup sucked. So you're not developing these necessary skills that they need to be able to develop and handle loss when they get older. And so what's happening now? These kids that are in their teens, suicide is I think a second leading cause of death with like teenagers and young adults, because they don't know how to experience loss. Like they have no idea. Like they have no idea how to deal with it.
Right.
And to me, it doesn't prepare them for the real world. They're in training right now. Why would you take that away from them? You need to be able to let them experience loss, or else they're not going to know how to handle it. All of a sudden, they don't get the new job. All of a sudden, they don't do this. Well, now they're in trouble. They are not ready for the real world. And these are not major things. Those are just like little ways for them to learn how to cope with loss.
Right.
And that's why I think it's really ruining them in the long run. And that's why I think also the same thing, when we say these excuses for people with mental health issues, all you're doing is giving them a trophy. Like, oh, it's the stigma about mental health. Stop giving them trophies. They have to know that they're accountable for it, right? Same thing with kids. Like, you have to let them know they're accountable to win. They're accountable for the loss. Like, you have to hold them accountable. If they don't know how to do that, they're never going to know in the future. And then they have no one but to blame but someone else. It's never their fault.
It's always the blame on somebody else.
Oh, all day. And it's not because I'm being mean. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it helps in the long run. And the same thing with kids. Yeah, it's nice. Like, instant gratification. They got a trophy. But you know what? Long term, it's actually damaging. You know?
Right. Absolutely. And Ricardo, I'd love to keep talking on the subject. Just for time constraint, I just kind of want to go into what can our viewers. So what exactly can viewers look forward to with your series? What kind of people are on? Maybe something like that in the future. I know that obviously Thursday your guest dropped off, so there won't be. We might have a guest on Thursday tomorrow. Yeah. We're not sure yet, but either way, we'll at least have a show.
Yeah.
So what can some viewers expect in the next coming weeks from the show?
Definitely. So we've been taking on a lot of different guests from actually all over the world. I have like different guests from London. One is like this ultra marathon runner that, you know, he actually grew up with his dad with Peaky Blinders and like really had a bad life and just straightened himself out, ran a marathon. He was not even an athlete growing up. Another person is the PhD who wrote this book called Personality Isn't Permanent. And I'm really curious about that because his studies, scientific studies, is backing everything that actually we just talked about. How nothing is permanent. Like it's one of those, you know, oh, my dad is an alcoholic, so I guess I am. Like,
Right.
you don't have to be, but that's a great excuse though. Love it. So yeah, we're having like different guest speakers from around the world, really, talking about different aspects of mental health. That goes from inspirational stories to like their worst stories, so people can relate and stuff like that. Basically, the idea is to change people's perspective. You know, showing people what they've gone through, the tools they did to get out of it, because it's a constant battle. Just like physical health, mental health is something you do right now and forever. You don't just stop eating vegetables and be good. Like, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what we're doing. And hopefully, you know, with the distribution of the content, it'll just kind of help reach more people and help us raise more funds, you know?
That's right, Ricardo. And now, where can some of our viewers go to visit and learn more about your service? And
yeah, if everyone just go to startday1.org. You'll get all the information there, and you can actually donate through there also.
Very good.
Awesome.
Ricardo, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you guys so much. Looking forward to doing more things together. And
yeah, of course, I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate the opportunity, man. And we've been trying for this for a little while now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's finally coming to fruition. It took a while, but hey, you know, things happen for a reason. So here we are, getting it done.
And the more funding we get, you know, we might be able to, you know, finalize your little project there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm still looking forward to that. I would still love to do that. And obviously with your help, I would start day one's backing on that. But we can we'll talk about that at some other time, definitely. But
all right, thank you.
Easy, man. Thanks again. And like I said, to all the viewers out there, it'll be on our Facebook. I believe it'll be on our YouTube and Twitter. And you can find it there as far as Eyes on New Jersey is concerned.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys again for this time. And until, I guess, tomorrow, we'll be going live.
Awesome.
On New Jersey, start day one.
Be sure to catch them tomorrow, guys. All right, viewers, tomorrow, 5 o'clock, 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Yep. EST.
EST. Perfect. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good night, all right?
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.